Deep below the warm Pacific waters lies a world almost entirely hidden from us. A place so remote and so extreme that, for most of history, people believed life could not exist there. This is the Mariana Trench, the deepest known part of our planet's oceans, and one of the most mysterious places on Earth. From the surface, the Pacific seems endless, but hidden far beneath the waves is a scar in the crust of the planet, nearly 11 kilometers deep. To put that into perspective, if Mount Everest were placed inside the trench, its peak would still be submerged by nearly 2 kilometers of water. It is a world defined by cold, darkness, and pressure so intense that it can crush steel. Yet, astonishingly, it is also a place where life has found a way to survive. The trench begins with a sheer drop. Within a few hundred meters, the last traces of daylight begin to fade. At 200 meters, sunlight grows too dim for photosynthesis. By 1,000 meters, the darkness is absolute. Here the water is near freezing and the weight above has already grown deadly. The deeper we go, the more hostile the environment becomes, and yet each layer of ocean holds strange and remarkable creatures, adapted to thrive where no human could survive. At the surface lies the sunlit zone, the layer we know best. It makes up just a fraction of the ocean but supports most of the life within it. Tiny plants called phytoplankton drift here, capturing sunlight and carbon dioxide, releasing oxygen and forming the foundation of the entire marine food web. They are eaten by zooplankton, which feeds small fish, which in turn feed larger predators. The food we take from the sea, cod, tuna, herring, comes largely from this narrow band of life powered by sunlight. Half of the oxygen we breathe is made here by life too small to see. But light does not travel far through seawater. By a few hundred meters down, the blue fades to black. This is the twilight zone where creatures produce their own light. Flashes of bioluminescence glitter in the darkness, signals to mates, traps for prey, or desperate attempts to confuse predators. The most numerous vertebrate on Earth, the tiny bristlemouth fish, lives here by the quadrillions. Barely the length of a finger, these fish are armed with sharp teeth and glowing spots, drifting in schools so vast they may outweigh all other fish on the planet combined. Still deeper lies the midnight zone. Here the temperature is just above freezing and the pressure is immense. No sunlight has ever reached these waters, yet it is not silent. Strange creatures move through the dark. Some, like the barrel-eye fish, have transparent heads and upward-pointing eyes to detect the faint outlines of prey. Others, like the anglerfish, dangle glowing lures in front of jaws filled with fangs. In these depths, hunting is a game of deception. It is here, too, that giants dwell. The elusive giant squid, with eyes the size of dinner plates, drifts in search of prey. For centuries, only dead specimens washed ashore hinted at its existence. Now we know they grow to lengths of over 13 meters, their massive eyes tuned to detect the faintest flicker of light. Some scientists believe even larger individuals, colossal squid, may still lurk in the trenches, unseen by human eyes. And yet the deeper we descend, the stranger it becomes. At 4 to 6 kilometers down we reach the abyss, a world of silence and slow motion. Here ghostly sea cucumbers crawl across the sediment. Amphipods, shrimp-like creatures, swarm over whatever food falls from above. They live on marine snow, the endless fall of organic debris drifting down from surface waters. Life here grows slowly, conserving energy in a world of scarcity. Beyond 6 kilometers begins the Hadal Zone, named after the underworld of Greek mythology. It exists only within deep trenches like the Mariana. Pressures here are beyond imagination, more than 1,000 times what we experience on land. For decades, scientists thought nothing could survive. Yet the Hadal Zone is not barren. Transparent snailfish glide gracefully through the gloom, their fragile bodies adapted perfectly to endure what would instantly crush creatures from shallower seas. Amphipods grow to unusual sizes, perhaps because the pressure alters their metabolism. Even microbial life flourishes, feeding on chemical energy seeping from the seafloor. Finally, at nearly 11 kilometers below the surface, we reach the Challenger Deep, the deepest point on Earth. The pressure here is like placing the weight of a car on a single fingernail. The seafloor is a plain of fine sediment, stirred only by occasional landslides or earthquakes triggered by the shifting of tectonic plates. It is silent, alien, and seemingly lifeless. Yet even here, life persists. Amphipods scuttle across the mud. Microbes thrive in the sediment, adapted to conditions no laboratory can fully replicate. The trench is a reminder that life is more resilient and inventive than we often imagine. Exploring such depths is not easy. In 1960, Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh became the first humans to reach the Challenger Deep aboard the bathyscaphe Trieste. They sat inside a thick steel sphere barely big enough for two, suspended beneath a massive float filled with gasoline. Their descent took nearly 5 hours. At one point, a loud crack echoed through the vessel. One of the viewing windows had fractured under the pressure. Still, they pressed on, eventually settling on the seafloor. Through tiny portholes, they glimpsed a murky, stirred-up bottom and even a living creature, possibly a sea cucumber, proving that life could endure the impossible. They stayed only 20 minutes before beginning their long ascent, becoming the first and for 50 years, the only humans to see the bottom of the Earth. Half a century later, in 2012, filmmaker James Cameron descended alone in a custom-built submersible called the Deep-Sea Challenger. He spent hours on the seafloor filming and collecting samples. Since then, a handful of explorers have followed. By 2021, more people had visited the Challenger deep than had walked on the moon. Among them was Hamish Harding, who set records for the deepest and longest dive. Yet only 2 years later, he died when another submersible, Titan, imploded during a much shallower expedition to the Titanic wreck, a stark reminder of the dangers of deep-sea exploration. For all our achievements, we have only just begun to explore the trench. Most of it remains uncharted. Each new mission brings back species never seen before: gelatinous fish, strange microbes, even viruses unlike any found elsewhere. The discoveries here may reshape our understanding of biology and evolution. They may even hold clues to life beyond Earth. If organisms can survive in the crushing dark of the Challenger Deep, perhaps they can also endure in the hidden oceans of distant moons like Europa or Enceladus. And yet, for all its remoteness, the trench already bears our mark. Plastic bags and bottles have been found drifting in its depths. Microplastics have been detected inside amphipods living at the bottom. Even here, 11 kilometers below the waves, human impact has arrived. It is a sobering thought. If our influence reaches even the Mariana Trench, what part of Earth remains truly untouched? The mystery of the trench is not only about what we find there, but also what it says about us. It challenges our assumptions of where life can exist. It forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge, and it reminds us that the Earth still holds places as unexplored as any distant planet. As we return to the surface, rising through the darkness and into the light once more, one thought lingers. We are strangers to most of our own planet. The Mariana Trench is not just a geological feature. It is a gateway to the unknown, a reminder that mysteries still remain waiting silently in the dark. And until we go back, its secrets will remain hidden 11 kilometers beneath the Pacific in the cold and eternal abyss.